Good morning folks, and welcome back to another film. Now, for those of you that haven't visited the channel before, alright, my name's Simon Eardley and I'm a wildlife photographer based in the middle of Wales. Alright, we're in Montgomeryshire, mid Wales. Beautiful county. So, you might be thinking, why am I watching a wildlife photographer? Now, my most successful film, believe it or not, on the channel is a film that I did about making walking sticks. Did it a number of years ago, and it's had some real success. So it's that time of year. It's that time of year where we start thinking about cutting walking sticks, because my collection of Shanks up there is looking a little bit depleted. We're down to probably the last 25 maybe, and I like to have quite a few drying. I like to have maybe 100. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have a quick talk about what we're going to be going and collecting, or hopefully collecting. We're going to have a look what we're taking with us. We're going to have a look at the bag that we're taking, any tools, any cutting tools and other bits and bats. And then what we'll do, we'll get out there. We're going to have a wander around the property. So if you haven't visited this before, we've got 3 acres of land here. We've got a little stream running up there, and there's a lot of hazel about. That's, well, I'm going to talk about the actual wood that we're going to be collecting, which is hazel. So what we'll do now, we'll have a talk about the hazel and why we're particularly going to cut that for our walking sticks. So what we're going to do before we get out there, we're going to have a look at the gear that we're taking with us, and we're going to talk about the particular wood that we're going to be looking for making these walking sticks. Okay, so what we after? Well, probably 99% of all the sticks that I make out of hazel. It's a fantastic wood. It's readily available. It grows pretty quickly. It grows in a variety of colours, and it's relatively straight as well. And like I said, there's an abundance of it. So these are all sticks that that's one that I'm making at the moment. You can see the colours on that one. That's quite a dark one. That's more of that's one that's got a deer antler on the top. So that's a nice golden colour, if you will. Again, quite a few dark ones, but occasionally that one, that's a shank that's dried and ready to work with. You can see that's got some lovely golden mottling on it. And this one, this is really unusual. I cut this in mull. Now apparently, look at that, it's almost like a snake skin, isn't it? Superb. Apparently those patterns are made by snails. Now, if anyone can shed any different light on that, or a different theory, but that's not been straightened either. So that is straight off the tree. And that's going to be a special stick, that. So that is for me. No one else is having that, but because I remember exactly where I was when I cut that on the Isle of Mull up in Scotland. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we're targeting today. Right, what we're going to do, we'll have a look at the tools. We're going to have a look at the bag that we're taking and the bits and bats that we're going to use for cutting them. Okay, we don't need a lot of gear, but there are options that we can use for cutting. Now, when I first started making walking sticks, all I had was a Swiss Army knife. Now the cutting blade on a Swiss Army knife, there's a little saw on it. It's absolutely brilliant. It's razor sharp, and I've still got that knife. When I finished work a couple of months ago, I left it in my locker, so I've got to go and pick it up yet. And unfortunately, I can't show it you. But I always have that on me. I've had it nearly 30 years I've had that knife, and I've cut countless and countless walking sticks. It's a fantastic little tool. So a Victorinox, I'll put a picture on the screen now. A Victorinox Swiss Army knife with a wood cutting blade on it is a superb little tool to have. But we've also got a selection of other things as well. So starting, this looks a bit extreme, all right. I will probably not take this with us for cutting. In fact, no, I will do. We'll put it in the bag and I'll just show you how good it is. So that's a Milwaukee battery chainsaw. Like I said, it's a little bit extreme. I didn't buy it for cutting walking sticks. So I just bought it for when we're out cutting logs for the wood burner. But if you chose to, you could use one of them, no problem at all. Quick, a little bit heavy, and obviously you've got the battery issue, so it's not something that I would actually recommend, but we'll take it with us. Saws wise, we've got a few saws. So that's a Silky Zubat. Absolutely razor sharp. It's a Japanese pull saw, so it cuts on the pull stroke. This is going a little bit dull now. I've had it maybe 3 years now, and I'm still on the same blade. But again, probably about, I don't know, getting on for 60, 70 quid that, but worth every penny. Absolutely fantastic. It's got a clip on there. You can clip it onto your belt, and it's also got a leg loop. I've actually taken them off because I just shove it in my bag, but that's an excellent saw. Looking at the cheaper end, okay, we've got, again, I've had this a long time. This is a backhoe. That's a Laplander. Folding saw. Just locks like that. There's a little button on it to release it. You just press that in and it folds down. Nice and small. That's probably only, what, 7 inches long, something like that. But again, a pull saw. Works on the pull stroke. Cracking saw. Nice and compact. You can just slip that in your breast pocket or your pants pocket. Another adaptation of that, this is a Draper one. It's quite a nice saw actually. Bit bigger, but it's got the handguard on it. So again, that locks, thumb down, open that up. Bit more of a curved blade, this one. So it cuts really well, but it's got this protection on here. So you're not going to, take the end of your knuckles off, if you will. Not that expensive, probably, I don't know, maybe about 15 quid. I'll put a link in the description to all the stuff that we use, but that's not a bad one. So we'll take that. This is an option for tricky spots. Now that's a little rope wire saw. So effectively all you do, I'll move back a bit, you put it round the shank that you're cutting, and you just use a seesaw motion like that, if you will, and then that'll cut through your stick. Again, only a few quid, but a little, option to have in your cutting gear. And I always take a pair of secateurs just for trimming off. You've got to be careful when you're trimming off any twigs. If you're a bit slapdash with the knife, you can end up damaging the bark. What you don't want to do is lose any of that bark off the shank. That you can see there where the little branches have been, and all I do, I just when I'm making the stick, I just go over with the power file, and it just gives it a nice finish. I like to see them, but you don't want to damage. You don't want any scallops out the bark. That just renders it useless. It's no good then. So other than the cutting gear, I always take a bag full of cordage. I'll show you what we use the cordage for, and a pair of gloves, a decent pair of leather gloves. And safety wise, because we're using cutting gear, little first aid pack, couple of bandages in, plasters. It's easy just to slip and take a chunk out your finger or what have you. And also, it seems a little bit of overkill, but you'd be surprised at the areas where you get when you're cutting walking sticks. You can end up in some proper thick brash and that, and you've got to be careful of your eyes. So a little pair of safety glasses. If it's open and you can see, everything's fine, you don't need them. But for the space that they take up, it's not worth having a stick in the end of your eyeball and ending up in the hospital, is it? So that's pretty much it. The bags that I generally take, if I'm only out for, you know, an hour, I'll just take that. That's just a shoulder bag. Just sling that over there. That'll fit the saws in, and then, you know, anything else. But today, because we're making a film, we've got a bit of vlogging gear. I'm going to take my stubborn bag with me. I've got a flask in there, a couple of refreshments, binoculars. If I'm out for a while, I always take my binoculars with me because I'm always looking for things to photograph as well. So the binoculars are in, and I think that's pretty much it. So what we're going to do, I'll tell you what, we'll when we get outside, I'll just talk about what I generally wear as well. It might not seem important, but it can be. We'll go down to the bottom of the garden, and then we're going to work our way up the stream, and we're going to, I know there's quite a few sticks that can be cut, and I've just waited till this time of year. We're going to have a mooch up there, see what we can cut. I can't go up near the hide at the moment because we've got a customer in the hide, so he's up there photographing. So we're going to keep away from that side, and we'll have a wander out. We'll go for a mooch and see what we can cut, and hopefully we'll come back with a big bundle of hazel sticks that we can get tied up, get them in the rafters and get them drying. They're going to take 12 months to dry. This isn't a quick process, you know, so that's what you've got to kind of think 12 months ahead. But that's what we're going to do this morning. So let's get packed up. We'll get outside, talk through the clothes, and let's go and cut some sticks. Right, clothing wise, don't be wearing your Sunday best, trust me, because you will end up wrecking whatever you wear. All right, well, I usually do, so I end up in some proper situations when I'm out cutting walking sticks. I tend to go off-piste, if you know what I mean. So I've got my old cami jacket on that I'm saying I'm not bothered about it. I've had this a long time, but it's hard wearing. You know, I'm not bothered about wrecking it. I can stitch it up. It's right. I've got a pair of Sherwood double lined pants on, the kind of thorn proof. I've got a good strong pair of boots on, so I've got my Mindle Dover Extreme boots on with the high leg, and I've also got my gaiters on. I've got some Falraven gaiters G1000. They're double thick as well, so again it just stops them thorns, you know, wherever you're going to get, because you know you do get in some pretty skanky areas. So don't put any good gear on. Don't be putting a nice Paramore jacket on, because you will rip a big hole in it. All right, you're in with brambles and thorns and what have you, so wear stuff that you're not precious about. Right, let's get in the hedgerow and let's start. What we'll do, we'll identify what we're actually looking for, and we'll get some sticks cut. Okay, as I mentioned at the beginning of the film, we're after hazel. And first off, for those of you that might not know what it looks like, we'll have a look at the leaf. So you might wonder why we're cutting it at this time of year. Well, the sap's not rising. The trees are becoming dormant, and the thing is as well, once the leaves start dropping, it's a lot easier to find sticks. You imagine, I mean, you can cut them, don't get me wrong, you can cut them in the summer months and spring, but you know, why would you? If you time it right, winter's the time. Autumn and winter's the time to cut sticks. So there's so much hazel around here. I'll spin you around so you can see there, that's a hazel leaf. There we go. A very, very common tree for those of you that aren't in the UK. So you can see there, that's a hazel, and the way it grows very straight as well, and it's good for coppicing. So you'll see where there's a really good example up there, and well, in fact, let's see if we can find one around here. When it gets cut down, you can cut it right down to the stump and it'll start growing again, it'll start regenerating. So effectively it's like the gift that keeps on giving. You know, you can cut a load of sticks off it and then cut it right back and it'll just keep sprouting, it'll keep growing. So there's quite a good example across the stream there. So we'll get across here. There we go. And you can see this one's been cut back at some point, but all these new shoots that are growing, and it's just a case of finding the right thing. So what we're looking for a shank that's about between 4 and 5 foot. You don't need anything bigger than that unless it's a specifically abnormally large walking stick. I tend to try and cut them at about 5 foot, and you also want, obviously the diameter is a big factor, so I tend to cut them about an inch diameter, hopefully tapering down to maybe 3/4 of an inch over that kind of length. Something that's nicely balanced, not something that's going from really, like an inch down to dead narrow. The stick's not balanced well then. Colour wise, it don't really matter to me. I just tend to cut a selection of what I find. If I find a nice stick, I get it cut, because I've done it in the past before where I've seen a nice stick and I thought, right, I'll go back for that. And over the course of a day you find so many sticks and then you forget and you think, oh, where were it, that good stick that I so I don't do that. Don't go past something. If you see it and it's a good stick, get it cut. Okay, stream again and see if we can't find any. I said about watching your eyes. So there we go, we found some young ones there. They're no good for us, but that, I mean, look at that, that's arrow straight. That's fantastic. That's going to be one for the future. We're going to leave that. That's not big enough for us. If we're really lucky, we might find a natural thumbstick. So that's where it's got a V in the top. Difficult to find. I've not found that many good ones. Usually the V's kind of offset and it just doesn't look right. So, but I'll be happy just finding some decent shanks today. So we're looking around there. Again, when you're looking for them, don't forget to look right up. Sometimes you can look low down, look eye level, and you might think, there's nothing there, but look up and there might be a really nice stick growing off further up. You might have to struggle to get it down, but right, let's have a wander over there. Right, I've just spotted one. Wait, over the other side of the stream again. But it might be, I said about your eyes. Right, I think, after me just saying how hard it is to find a natural thumbstick, I might just have found one. So here we go. So there, we've got that, and we've got a natural V there, right in front of the house. So it's got a bit of a twine on it. I think we're going to cut that one. Yeah, we're going to take that. That's all right. Nice and strong there. Just be mindful as well. So again, looking at that V, follow it up. So you can see we've got leaves on that end, and we've also got leaves on that end. Sometimes you can find a stick like this and one leg will be dead. So if that was dead, it's no good. You cannot make a walking stick out of a dead shank. It's got to be living. So we're going to take that off. Again, spinning you around there, you can see where this hazel has been. It's been cut there. So someone, however many years ago, has trimmed that off. So the main body of the tree there has been cut, but all these have started sprouting off it, and as a result there's some, well, we've got at least one nice one. That'll be all right in future. That one will probably be all right, but they're for a couple of years down the line. So we'll get the pack off. What we'll do, I'll show you this little mini chainsaw, then we're going to ditch that because it's heavy and it's taking up room in the bag. So we'll get that out because we're near the house. We can ditch that, leave it, and then we'll carry on heading up the stream looking for more sticks. So Milwaukee little chainsaw, take the guard off. Again, battery powered. Make sure you've got oil in it. It is a proper chainsaw, this, they're not a toy. All right, that'll have your finger off in a flash. So okay, so we're going to ditch that now, but handy little tool, they're all right, they're good, but a bit heavy, they take up space. So we like to travel light. So we got that one, that's our first one, thumbstick, that'll do. That's not bad, that. What we need to do now, in fact also, I couldn't film at the time, but we got another one off it. So what I did, I've left these little bits on, and I'll show you how we deal with them. Again, this one's got a little bit of a vine on it, so that's not made any marks in the bark. Well, that one's fine. We mentioned about the secateurs, didn't we? So we use the secateurs just for trimming these off. Nice clean cut there. Yep. If you try that with a knife, like I said before, you can damage the bark, so it's much easier with the secateurs. We'll just trim that up, and that's all right. That'll make a decent stick. This one, again, another couple. So yeah, first few minutes, and we've got two sticks. Right, we'll press on. I think what we'll do next, we'll try our little rope saw. I'll show you how effective they are. Right, we've not got very far. I've found an absolute beauty. Boy, it's a good one, this one. It was nearly a thumbstick, but not quite. So you see it there growing from the base up there. It's got a really nice pattern on it, and there's our near thumbstick, but that's no good, but an absolutely perfect shank. It's a strong stick, but it's going to make a good one, that. So as I said a couple of minutes ago, we will try that little rope saw, show you how effective that can be. Right, I can't believe how in peril my gear is. I'm trying not to knock that camera down into the stream. I don't think I showed you before, but it's a good idea to bring a tape rule with you. you know, if you're not quite sure on the height, that one, see that one, that's just borderline, it's just over 4 foot, but it'll make a, not a long stick, but it's a good one, it's too good to leave. So our little rope saw, we do, we pass it round and then get it as low down, put your finger in, and it's that backward and forward motion. Not the easiest to do. If you put too much of an angle on it like that, it's very difficult to saw with. So what you've got to do is kind of start it off a shallow angle, if the location allows you. Oh, it's a workout. It's a workout, is this? And we're through. But tiny. That will go in your wallet. So effective. You know, if you're just going out for a wander and you think I might just cut a couple of walking sticks, that does the job. Nice clean cut. I'm not going to use that again for doing the top. We'll use the folding saw for that, but you can see how it works. It's another option, another tool in the arsenal. You're not going to believe it. When I was down in the barn, I was showing you all the different colours and the different, you know, variations you can get in the bark colour on these Hazel Shanks. I've just found one, literally. So there's the driveway, there's the front gate. So in the garden effectively, and look at that. Look at the colours on that. It's that kind of almost like a leopard skin. Brilliant. Well, like a snake skin, if you will. Beautiful. And it's clean as well. So from there up to, we've got a little bit of, you can see there where I was talking about damage. Definitely got a 4 foot shank there. So we're going to take that out. I mean, look at the colour variation. So we've got this, like the snake skin, and then next to it, that's Hazel again, and we've got this lovely dark coloured bark that comes up fantastic when you get a bit of finishing oil on that. It's beautiful, really comes out nice, and some nice colours on that. But we're going to get this one cut. Well chuffed with that. That is a proper result, and we didn't have to go to mull for it either. Let's get it cut. I mean, you might be watching this and thinking, I don't want to get into stick making, but they're a handy thing to have, you know, especially well, around here with it being so, so hilly. And if you watch that Red Kite film, proper steep up there, just taking a stick with you, you know, it's a bit of a stabiliser, and it helps you. It really does help when when you're getting up some steep inclines. And great if you're, bashing a bit of bracken down, or blazing a trail, if you will. But to be honest, that stick's already made, isn't it? I mean, you can cut the bottom off. You don't even have to stick a ferrule on it. You could just use it as it is right now. Just shorten them. Job's done, innit? You can actually bend them over your knee. When they're freshly cut like this, you can actually take a bit of that twist out over your knee. You've just got to be mindful that you don't snap it. Just give it a little bit of persuasion. But the best way is to steam them, obviously, which is what you've seen in the other films. But like I said, you could use that straight away. I've been out before, done overnighters where I wanted to travel really light. I haven't taken a tripod with me, and I've cut 3 shanks like that, just lashed them together at the top, leave a little bit protruding out, almost like a teepee, like the poles coming out the top of a wigwam or a teepee, and then you can just sit a beanbag on top. And fantastic, it makes a really good tripod. But you've not taken anything out into the field. You've not had to lug a big heavy tripod with you, and you could just hide it. You can stash it for the next time you go, or take them back with you and make some walking sticks out of them. So yeah, it's not a bad little hobby to have in the winter. It's not always a nice day, is it, to go out with the camera? So it's a bit of a backup. Like I said, always bring these out with you. You never know, do you, what's knocking about. So you saw before in the intro, I mentioned about bringing a bag with you with cordage. Super handy to have for any situation, but I've got a couple of old belt lines that were mine at work, and I've got some of these buckle straps. I'll show you what they're for, and just an assortment of cordage. I always like to have cordage with me. I always have had. Just dead handy, you can knock shelters up, it's, a splint for you, anything. So we got to the point where we're carrying quite a few sticks, and they become a pain, to be honest. They're hard work to keep together. So what we like to do as we go along, we get to this point, we've got, how many have we got, did we say 7 or 8? There we go. So I'll get them all in a bunch like that. And then these are quick. So I've got two short ones and one that's a little bit longer. All I do, just tighten it up. There we go. That's one. And the other one, that's the shorter one. There, we've got our stick bundle, if you will. Now we can either use belt lines, are good because you can get them underneath. Leave a little bit of slack in it. That one will slide under there, and then all this is for is just to carry it over your shoulder. Just leave it almost like a handle, if you will, and lash that off, and then it's just a means of carrying it. We can stick that over our shoulder and we're good to go, and we can carry 25 sticks easily, no problem whatsoever. And then when we get to cutting a few more, we can just ease them off, slide them through, slide the other ones through as we go. If you get to the end of that strap, you've got a good bundle of sticks. So that's what we'll aim for today, eh? We'll let this brew wherever it is. Well, here we go, and we'll go and cut some more. we were talking about damage on the bark. This is a good example. So we've got a decent stick there, nice and straight all the way up, and you can see where this one has been rubbing against it, and there we go. So we've got that damage. You might get away with that cutting it there, but if that's in the middle of your shank, it's not going to be, it definitely won't be a sure stick anyway. So as I said, try and get eyes on 360 all the way around, make sure it's nice and clean. So we were saying before about, you know, where to collect them. Hedgerows can be fantastic. This is our hedge just along the roadside, and all this is hazel. Some good stuff, a bit more accessible from this side, so that's why we've come down onto the road. A little bit easier to get to. A couple of nice ones there. So that is it for this one. If you've never had to do it stick making, have a go. If you're a photographer, you're in the right spots, aren't you? You know, you'll be going out in the sticks, pardon the pun, if you know what I mean, out in the wilds, and there's an abundance of hazel. Always get permission if you're on somewhere and it's not your land. Always get permission off the landowner. You know, they're pretty receptive, to be honest. You know, tell them what you're doing. But good little hobby to have for the winter, and they come in handy. They come in really handy. So I'll chuck them down on the deck. I'll show you what we've got. So that's in the space of, well, I don't know, less than an hour. We've got a good bunch of sticks there. So I'm going to get them into the barn now. We'll tie them up like they are, suspend them from the rafters, and it'll take a year for them to dry out properly. You can't force dry them, there's no point. We'll not bother trying to straighten them. We'll just leave them as they are, and then when they're dry, that's when we'll start steaming them and working them. But yeah, that's it. Again, those of you this week who bought me a coffee, big shout out, thank you very much. I'll stick your names on now. If you haven't subscribed, give us a subscribe, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, hit that bell icon, and you'll get notified of any films. Like I said, trying to get one out a week at the moment, and we seem to be achieving it, though it's always lastminute.com. It's Thursday morning now, and this is out the day after, so again, I need to start banking them up. But yeah, no, we're achieving it at the moment. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next week. See you later.